Hey everyone, and welcome to Recharge the Podcast. I'm David Coe. Today, my guest is a New York Times best-selling author, a passionate animal rights advocate, a podcast host, and busy mom of three. She is definitely someone who knows firsthand how important it is to make space for self-care and forgiveness. She wrote a whole book about that. So let's recharge with Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt. Welcome, Katherine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for being here today. We have literally so much to talk about, and I know you hear that quite often, but I truly mean that. We literally have so much to talk about. And there's a question that I like to ask all my guests before we get started. And this podcast was inspired by a book I wrote. So before we begin, I wanted to ask you a question is, how's your battery today and why?
Today, my battery is very full. I mean, I would say that if you ask me like my sleep quality, I would say it's like always with young kids, a little dodgy, but my battery's full. I'm so excited to be here. I haven't been to New York in 2 years. So
Wow.
I'm really excited to be back. The energy here, I was saying to my mom yesterday, it's like you come here and you get this rush of energy that I feel like you just cannot be lazy in the city. Like it's just, you want to get things done, you want to go out. And so I'm really excited to be here for my book and really excited about the book coming out. And it's a special one for me. So a full battery for me.
I love that. And speaking of the book, congratulations. I see
Thank
it
you.
behind you. I
Yes,
love the art around the book.
thank you.
Your book is such a beautiful story about overcoming fear and finding confidence through connection.
Mhm.
What really inspired you to write this book and why now?
So the book is based off of my connection that I had with my childhood horse, Brandy. And it was such a meaningful and profound one for me. And I always knew I wanted to do something with my relationship with Brandy and how impactful it was in my life. And it really felt that doing this book happened at the perfect time for me. I have three of my own children now and also a stepson. And so I really feel like I've spent so much time the past 5 years. My oldest daughter is 5, and
Wow.
just reading children's books. And I love when books have positive messages. And so I wanted to write
Yes.
a book about
Mm.
overcoming fears and about courage and about bravery and really have it be a book that parents look at as a partner in their parenting journey of being able to read this book and have natural and organic conversations come from the pages and the story and the words and the
Mm.
pictures in this book, and also allow this book to have natural prompts for when you're done reading the book, saying to your child, what are you afraid of? Or
Ah.
how do you work through your fears? Or have your
Mm.
kid ask you that question. And what does it mean to be brave? What does it mean to be courageous? And also, of course, to shine a light on the incredible healing power of animals. And anyone who's experienced that knows exactly what I'm talking about. People can have a connection with a rabbit or a dog or a cat or a horse. So it's such a gift to have in our lives to be able to be blessed with the presence of these animals. And for me, my horse Brandy has provided me with such a sense of calm and peace that
Mm.
I couldn't find anywhere else. And so I wanted to shine a light on that as well in this book.
Oh, that's so lovely. And there's actually a ton to unpack there in terms of what you just talked about. I didn't grow up with pets, but what I found was that my kids actually really found a lot of emotional support with our dogs. And so my question to you is like, what role do you think animals can really play in mental health?
Well, there's a reason that there are emotional support dogs and emotional support
Yeah.
animals and therapy animals, and of course,
Yeah.
the whole industry of equine therapy. So there's obviously a reason that animals provide people with various forms of support and a sense of
Mhm.
calm and security that people can't find anywhere else.
Mm.
When you're able to witness your kids or just any child in the presence of an animal, the thing that is so incredible about animals is that they don't care what you do for a living. They don't care how much money you make. They don't care what you look like or, what cool thing you think that you did that day. And they also don't care about what mess up you've done that day or what failure
So
you've
good.
had. They love you and see you for who you are, and you can't fake it with an animal. I remember my mom taking my sister and I to do equine therapy after her and my dad separated.
Mm,
And I was like, "Oh, I've been around horses forever. I've got
mm,
this. Like, this is going to be no problem."
mm,
And so I walked in with a sense of confidence and like, okay, I can just do this, with my eyes closed.
mm.
And the horses did not vibe with that energy at all.
No.
And it took me
Wow.
a very long time, even as someone who has been around horses my whole life and felt comfortable around them, to work through these different tasks and in this course of equine therapy
Mm.
in a way that I was very surprised by and also at times frustrated by because I couldn't sweet talk the horse because the horse doesn't care and like they pick up on your energy. They know exactly, who
So
you
true.
are, what you're about, and they require you to show up as your true authentic self. And so I think that's such a gift to be able to give to anyone at any age and especially children because they can sense that unconditional love. And to have that feeling of feeling unconditionally loved at any age is such a huge blessing and a huge gift to have.
That's such a good point because we actually had an offsite here at Com a couple years back, and we had this partnership we did with Mars Pet Care, and we brought dogs actually to the event that we could go and pet and actually spend some time with, and so it was something different for us as a company.
Mhm.
What was really interesting was I've never had an event where everyone showed up on time, everybody came, and everyone was so excited. And so
Yeah,
you just
I'm
kind of
sure.
realize like there's something here for the corporate world as well. It's not just for children. So as you were saying, it's something for all ages.
It's amazing when you incorporate animals into things, how people respond, and also what people learn about themselves. Being in the presence of, when I did my course in equine therapy,
Mm,
I really it was a lesson to me about, what I was leading with and also what I
mm,
needed to focus on. And I look back, especially on, when writing this book on my childhood, being around horses and the comfort that I felt there and the feeling of safety and calm and peace that I experienced being at the barn and just even caretaking for the horses and the
mm.
animals. It's like I gave myself an unintentional course in equine therapy because it was really the place that for me as a child, I felt like, okay, I can be my totally true, authentic self here. I don't have to, we, especially in adolescence, we grow up and we're trying to fit in or we're trying to do the latest trend or, be someone that we're not. And at the barn, I was able to really just be myself. And so that was such a gift to be able to have that. And I think one that people of all ages will benefit
Oh,
from.
so good. I
Yeah.
want to switch gears just for a little bit. I mean, you mentioned this briefly in the beginning. Yeah, you're raising three very young children, one
Yeah.
stepson. You guys have, as a family, a very, very active lifestyle. You're
Mhm.
hosting a podcast, and somehow you have found time to write this amazing book. How do you manage that all, and how do you manage your own kind of mental health or, while doing all these different things?
I mean, it's definitely not easy. I feel like I've always, everybody always asks me, like, how do you balance it all? And I always love to remind people that I don't. There's no such thing as like balancing it all. It doesn't exist. And anyone who tells you that it does exist is lying to you. And it's creating like this unnecessary pressure to try and do everything at the same time really well, which is not a realistic
Right.
thing to have for yourself. So I think just understanding that and wrapping your head around that is really a great and a big relief to be able to do. Um, Leading up to this, book launch, it's been an interesting adjustment because I had my son almost a year ago, and I've, had a very wild year with
Mm,
his first year of life and also balancing my children and my husband being away on location
mm,
working. And I would say that I look at these moments in life as seasons. And
mm.
this right now is a work focused season for me. And launching this book is,
Yeah.
something I'm really excited about and I'm passionate about. And I feel lucky that I have a husband who supports me in that and knows that, okay, he has to be home because this is the first time that I've left my two daughters. The first time I've ever been away from them was to come
Wow.
to New York to launch this book. And so he made sure that he was home to be with the girls while I came here with the baby. And so, balancing it, I think for me, communication is so important to be able
Mm,
to try to do all the different things that all of us are doing in the best way that we can, and also giving yourself grace that there are certain roles in life when, for example, for me, when I'm in a busy season with work, there are other parts of my life and other roles in my life that don't get as much attention in this time that they do in other times, and that's
mm.
okay. So, I normally my husband and I do a date night. Have we done a date night while I'm ramping up for this book? No, we haven't, and that's okay. So for me, my number one role and number one priority that I always want to give the most of my attention to is my children. And so making sure that that role is always the one that is forward facing and my priority. And then everything else, you know, comes second to that and takes turns doing it because you can't do it all at the same time. It just doesn't work.
Absolutely. I'll be curious when you get back home because I had this as well with my two daughters. I remember when my wife left and she was gone for a little bit with a trip and she came back and she was like, "How was it?" And I was like, "It was great. It was fine, you know." But inside I was like, "Oh my God, thank God you're home. I could use the help." But you have a real
Yep,
new appreciation. But yes,
totally.
I'll be very curious to see how it goes with you and your husband.
I mean, I've made it pretty much foolproof. So I will,
That's what you
I
always
mean,
think, right?
it's what you think. I literally have like mapped out like to the hour of what goes on, what needs to happen, everything, which he really appreciated. So I'm also really happy my sister is there because
Oh,
she's like gonna be
reinforcements.
there. Yeah, reinforcement. My mom came here with me to help me with the baby. So I'm
Amazing.
like, everyone has support. Hopefully it's all good. It'll be
Well, Catherine, you've been writing books now for over 15 years. I
I
think
know.
this is
It's
your
crazy.
sixth book,
Sixth
right?
book, yes. Yeah.
Sixth book that you have written. Amazing, right? When you look back, are there things that you are doing differently or in terms of 5 to 10 years ago to 15 years ago, not just in writing books, but how you take care of yourself?
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah,
I mean, so much. Even just, gearing up to launch this book is so different because I have three children. Like it's
right.
not what my book tour and book launches looked like before I had children, or even 2 years ago when I only had two children, is dramatically different. And that to realize that in the beginning was frustrating. And then now I'm like, of course it looks different. Like I have three young children, I have a husband, I have totally different life than I had when I was 19 and I did my first book. And so it looks very different, of course. And the way that I, you know, take care of myself looks very different because taking care of myself now is like doing my meditation or just sitting in some silence or
Mhm.
I think it looks different at different phases of your
Mm.
life, and what your self-care looks like is really important, and also checking in with yourself, what you need more of, what you need less of. And so yeah, it definitely, a book tour looks different, life looks different, but it's a blessing. I mean, it's like such a beautiful season of life to be in. So I'm thrilled to be able to say I need to go to my baby and I have to, that's my priority.
I love that. I love that. Talking about different. So you grew up with two very well-known parents,
Hmm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, actor and former governor of California, and your mother, Maria Shriver, journalist, part of the Kennedy family, obviously. And you said before they worked so hard to give you as normal of a childhood as they possibly could,
Hmm.
even though that you were surrounded by lots of fame and attention, and so this brought a lot of scrutiny. And now you're married to an actor who stars in some of the biggest blockbusters of all time, but who's home watching your two daughters, which is great. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep.
How did your parents help you deal with criticism growing up or scrutiny that always kind of comes up, it seems, when you're in the public eye?
Well, I think I had a great advantage that my mom also grew up in a very well-known and public
Mm,
family. So she came in with a lot of experience and also a lot of advice and her own experience and journey to pull from. And she talked to us kids about that a lot growing up and even still to this day. So we
wow.
had, a really great uh, person to go to ask for advice and to ask for experience. And that was very helpful to have that and still is obviously tremendously helpful. And I think our parents did a really great job giving us a very normal upbringing and normal childhood. We
Mm.
didn't go to events, we didn't go to red carpet things, we never
Oh,
got our
wow.
picture taken. We lived a very normal childhood. We didn't use the last name Schwarzenegger all the time. It was just S, Catherine S. So we had a lot of privacy. We had a lot of normalcy, and that was really important to my parents. It was really important to anyone that
Mm,
came around us, and they had to be on the same page that we we have to do everything just like everybody else. We get to do everything like everyone else, and
mm.
um, that was really important to them. And I think they did a really good job. And so it's really important to Chris and I as well. I think Chris came into our family and, and looked at the four of us kids and was like, you guys are good human beings. You all
Oh,
get
so good.
along really well with each other. And you all really want to be around each other. You want to be around your parents. You all, work really hard. You're good people. And for me, that was a great thing to have him have the desire to try and do a lot of the same things that our parents did growing up because we could draw from my own experience and also be able to talk to my parents about it as well. So, I think Chris and I are aligned with wanting to give our children the same level of privacy that
I was gonna ask that same
yeah,
question just now.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely something that's really important to us is
Mm,
being able to have them create their own identity and create their own sense of self separate from Chris and I and separate from the rest of their family and giving them privacy to do their own thing, be their own people, have their own interests, and feel loved and supported as individuals for who they are. And that was such a gift my parents gave to us kids. And we try to just like give them a very normal and private upbringing, and also their privacy is a priority for us. So we're aligned there.
I love that. I love that. And I've read also a lot about, your compassion and your empathy were inspired by your grandparents,
Mhm.
which I love. So Sergeant Shriver, who helped to found the Peace Corps,
Yeah.
and Eunice Kennedy Shriver, who founded the Special Olympics. And so when you think about that from your own grandparents, are there teachings that they gave you that you kind of remember and kind of go, oh yeah, these are things that are kind of ingrained in me from them?
To always be of service for sure.
Mm,
I think, for my grandparents and for my parents and uh, now myself as a parent, always instilling in your children that they're here to make the world a better place. And how can you do that? How can you take your passion and make the world a better place? How can you put things out into the world that make the world a better place, that someone allows someone to feel less alone in their journey,
mm,
allows someone to feel supported. And that's, I think, what my grandparents did really well. They did it on a massive, massive scale, which I find to be so inspiring and
mm,
amazing. And I really tried to, with my books or with my interviews for BDA Baby, really tried to have the same mentality that, you know, I am here on this earth to, I think I'm here on this earth, number one, to be a mother and also to always put things out there, put work out there, um, put anything out there in the world that makes it a better place, has positive messaging, and also allows someone to feel less alone in their journey. And so I feel really lucky and blessed to be able to look at all they accomplished and feel inspired by it and not frozen by
mm.
it. So,
Mm, so well said. I want to switch to something we talked a little bit about earlier, which is around meditation.
mhm.
And really for us here at Calm, there's such a big linkage between your mental health and your physical health. We know that there's a deep bond and linkage between the two. So, how you take care of yourself physically can show up how you take care of yourself mentally and vice versa.
Mhm.
You talked a little bit earlier about meditation. Can you just talk about how you came onto meditation and what that means to you?
Yes, I can. So I actually my mom, when my parents first split up, my mom was introduced to TM, which is a form of meditation, transcendental meditation. And she decided to implement the practice into her life and do an amazing course in it. And she thought that it would also be really helpful for me and for my siblings. And so she decided to give us courses in that as well. I was not in the place to receive it
Mm,
at all. I was
mm.
like, this is ridiculous. I can't even get in the mindset of taking in meditation or doing meditation. Like I just
Mhm,
wasn't at that place in my life.
mm,
And it really wasn't until last summer when I was very pregnant with my son, and I have, my two little kids, and I was trying to get a ton of things done. And my sister was in the house with me, and my husband was away on location filming, and I was like running around doing all the things. And my sister, which I feel like this is only something really like a sibling can say to you, but she said to me, she was like, how are you doing? And I was like,
mm,
I'm good. Why? And she was like, well, I know you've always wanted to be a mom. Like you've dreamt of being a mother your entire life. You've always dreamt of having kids. You've always wanted to be a mom, and you've wanted what you have right now.
mm,
And you're rushing about life. You're trying to get everything done, and you just don't seem like you're having fun.
mm,
And I was like, at first I was like, excuse me. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to actually listen to this. And so I sat with her saying that to me, and I was like, you're right. Like I'm trying to get everything done. I'm trying to get everything like, situated and organized and do things perfectly. And I was like, I don't have the ability to co-regulate enough
mm,
with my children. If they have big feelings, I can't help them co-regulate. Like I can't, I just did not have the bandwidth in me. And
mm,
so I was like, I need to change something about my life and my routine. So I allow for more patience and more calm in my life and allow for more of myself being centered. And so
mm.
I decided to redo my course in TM and implement meditation into my life. And it's something that I do every morning, and that's become a practice of my life. And it
Oh,
has
that's
changed
great.
my life dramatically.
Mm.
And I'm convinced it's why my youngest child is so calm and chill, is because I meditated so much in my pregnancy with him. And
Mm.
even I would use the Calm app, and I would just like
Ah, beautiful.
zen out.
Yeah.
And I was very pregnant, and I was doing it, and I was just like, I'm going to be super calm. I'm going to find my inner peace, and I'm going to center myself. And it really allowed for me to have so much more to give, and
Mm,
lowered my reactivity to things
mm,
and to situations and
mm,
scenarios so dramatically that I showed up better as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend in a
mm,
totally different way. And I saw the benefits of that very quickly for me.
mm.
And and I see it all the time when when I see my son, I'm like, you're very calm, very relaxed. You're like a little Buddha baby. And so I'm like, that was because of the meditation. So if you're pregnant, meditate, you'll have a very calm baby. Um, so yeah, it's definitely really important and a big priority in my life to be able to integrate that into my daily routine. And also just moving my body every day is also a really big part of like how I take care of myself and how I focus on my mental health, and and also just being gentle and kind to myself as well.
Well, you've heard it here first. If you meditate while pregnant from Katherine Schwarzenegger Pratt, you will have a calm
Hopefully.
baby. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it can just be so life changing. And whether it's around meditation or our next topic around sleep, it really plays into people's, kind of overall mental well being.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
pretty much half our users today that come to us say they come to us because of sleep. And so we recently launched the Calm Sleep app as well. And for me, it's not the number of hours that you sleep, it's really about just getting good quality sleep. What role does sleep play in your own mental health and your journey? Like, how important is that to you?
Listen, I'd like it to be more of an experience in my life. I think it's a tough question to ask someone with young children because it's
Yes.
really so unpredictable. It's really
Mm.
and I think that that gives people a lot of anxiety about, how unpredictable your sleep schedule can be. If you're someone like me who, before having kids, I was early to bed, early to rise. I got a solid amount of sleep. I've never been someone to sleep in. I just have never had the ability to do that. It's probably because I fear my grandmother or my father walking in and asking me what I've done so far that day, and the idea that I could answer nothing but sleep is terrifying. But I mean, sleep is a priority for me. I try to go to bed, early to try to get in sleep, and then one of the three of my children wakes up at
Right.
some point in the night, and I go right back to sleep.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
it's a priority, and it's also a season of waking up more frequently than I'm
mm.
supposed to.
Thank you for sharing that. Before we wrap, I like to end every episode with three final questions,
Mhm.
and a little bit of a speed round. What's something about you that might surprise people?
My God, I was just thinking of this the other day that might surprise people. I don't think it's anybody who knows me or has followed me at all on social media knows that I love organizations and labeling everything. My favorite contraption is a label maker.
I love
Um,
that.
so I don't know if that's something that somebody doesn't know about me. Maybe that I enjoy knitting.
Ah, hey, that's great too. I love that.
Yeah, that could be
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, look, you inspire so many. Who inspires you?
Oh, so many people. Um, I would say my mom for
Mhm,
sure. She
mhm.
inspires me every single day. I always just look at her and I'm like, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? How mostly, of course, all of my mom's accomplishments are incredible, but I would say that her accomplishment in the motherhood department, now that I'm a mom, especially, I'm like, I am so inspired by her all the time. And also mothering young children and also adult children and how she's been able to do that and navigate that. And she was so inspiring, as a wife. She's so inspiring as a first lady, as,
Mm,
a journalist, as an author of all the different roles that she tackles, and most of all as a mother. So she definitely inspires me every day.
mm. And finally, what's your favorite way to recharge?
Be with my family,
Mm.
have a good laugh. I would say laughing is like my recharge. I laugh in the most inappropriate times. That's a fun fact about me. My husband, when he first met me, was like, "Something is off with this girl," um, because I just uncontrollably laugh at the most inconvenient and also inappropriate and uncomfortable times. And also, I laugh so much when I'm with my family. My sister Christina makes me laugh so hard, and that recharges my battery
Ah,
unlike anything I
that's so
can experience in my life. So,
ah, that's so
thank God
good. That's so
for her.
good. Laughter's amazing.
Yes.
I got to tell you, Catherine, I wish we could just keep going. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us here
you.
today and just being just so open about your life, your new book. It's just absolutely incredible and what keeps you grounded in life. It's just been such a pleasure talking to you. For all of our listeners here who want to learn more about your new children's book, where should they go?
Cat and Brandy is out officially in bookstores. It's available online. I always, as an author, I always encourage people to go to their local bookstores to buy books or to go to Barnes and
Yes.
Noble. There's such amazing stores and also just amazing experiences to be able to go into a bookstore and pick up a book. And if you do it with a child, it's even more fun. And it's also available online, of course, for people who don't live near a bookstore. But I'm really excited about it. It's such a sweet story and really talking about overcoming your fears, courage, bravery, celebrating the healing power of animals. And I'm really excited about it.
To all of our listeners, if you've enjoyed the conversation with Katherine, I know you did, please share this episode with a friend, a teammate, or anyone in the moment who needs a moment of calm. Hit that like button and press subscribe to our channel. Thank you all for listening again, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.